the Sad Dads Club podcast. Here's everybody's favorite sad dads, Jim and Boo.
But a lot of my extracurriculars, if it wasn't sleeping, it was like, let's do something on the outside on the in the boats. Terrible.
Okay, I'm just gonna say it. Your homework, is to watch the series of Band of Brothers before the next show. And if you need me to bring over my DVDs or whatever it is, I will bring over both of them.
Do it.
They are in tins.
You went over and above and beyond with Star Wars shit, so I owe you a series.
You will not be disappointed.
All right.
I guarantee it. It's that fucking good.
It was an HBO thing?
HBO miniseries, yeah.
All right.
What else you want to know about it? Steven Spielberg and Tom Hanks are a part of the executive producers.
The thing I was thinking of with George Clooney was "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?" So wrong.
That's not even.
No,
that's
but
not
I was
the
brothers and that's all I drew from that.
Now they did collaborate on Saving Private Ryan, but that's a whole nother beast of a film. That's closer to what Band of Brothers.
Saving Private Ryan for me is like Schindler's List. It was so good, but also so I can't stomach myself to watch it a second time.
This Band of Brothers might be in that category, but in my opinion, I'm of the opinion with Band of Brothers that it doesn't matter because you can catch it on TV sometimes. If I flip through a channel and Band of Brothers is on, I am fucking glued to it until my wife tells me to turn it off.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because she doesn't like war stuff.
Yeah.
You know, so it like.
Did you watch the Peter Jackson's? I can't remember the name of it. Argonaut and I were talking about it. Probably a year something plus back at this point.
A year.
He
what happened yesterday?
Peter Jackson, he took a bunch of World War I footage and then put his fucking super amounts of Weta workshop stuff to restore it and then smush in between frames to make it.
Oh, yeah.
And then colorized it.
Yeah. Interpolated it.
Absolutely amazing. And then they've got like narration. They had people putting in to do like voiceover work in some of the non-audioed footage.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thoroughly entertained. The kids and I and Venus, we all watched it as a family for like a bit. The kids over time lost interest because I was trying to get it. We were doing it a lot of times during a mealtime. Like we were watching, like, well, I got your fucking attention. You can't leave. Ha ha. And then, after dinner, they would leave, and I'd watch the rest of it or whatnot. Yeah. Super well done. Super well. Yeah. And to circle back, I'm not saying. I think everybody should watch Schindler's List and Saving Private Ryan. They're amazing pieces of cinema. But just like going to like the Holocaust Museum, that it puts you in your place.
Yeah.
You don't watch it because it's an entertaining time. You watch it because it's teaching you a terrible lesson.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean
Saving Private Ryan is a movie based on saving one of the sons of multiple kids in one family, so the family can like carry on, because everybody else has died in the war, so they're trying to get him out of the war.
Yeah,
this is a miniseries that follows the Easy Company from training all the way through up until they come into the end of the war.
It's kind of like a Full Metal Jacket.
No.
Like where they're basic training and then Vietnam kind of thing?
Well, I mean, there is. It does have a little bit of that, but it's it like shows you the camaraderie of those guys that were part of Easy Company, and then there's like a show about the replacements because guys are getting killed off, and then new kids are coming in.
Oh yeah.
And there's sort of like internal like, oh, he's just a replacement. Like he'll only be here for 2 weeks. That mindset of of how they were in the war. I feel like they really captured, as far as the miniseries is concerned. You're not constrained by the limitations of a film length, right? Because you've got like 9 shows or whatever it is.
I just see that was it was the Grand Tour spinoff, the Menage a Carnage or Carnage à Trois, where they were. Did you watch it? Where they have the boats?
No.
They're doing a boat thing from Cambodia to Vietnam, and Clarkson's boat is a Vietnam War, like the Americans, whatever I can't remember.
Like a troop.
It's a troop boat. It's like their fast jet boat skimmer things.
Oh, okay.
And it's green with all
Army green.
He essentially like had them build him. It's 100,000 fucking pounds euros.
Oh damn!
Built him a military spec replica of this boat, and he throughout the episode they're talking about the war in as superficial as they can, but not in a comical way. About how they're taking kids, 17, 18, and those of you who were fibbing. They were driving these boats with people on the shores shooting at them, and these are kids barely had their driver's license in a war.
Can't even buy alcohol.
Yeah,
right.
Crazy.
It's fascinating. One of the interesting things is before, because the Band of Brothers series was done in 2001 or released in 2001, but they actually have interviews at the beginning of the shows of guys who were in Easy Company.
Okay.
So you have a historical reference for some of the stuff that was going on to start the show out with interviews with guys that were actually there
in it. Okay.
Yeah, and to me that stuff is just fascinating. My grandfather was a paratrooper in World War II. I don't know where he jumped. It wasn't on D-Day or anything like that, but he did jump out of a plane into the war somewhere in Europe. I never got to hear those. I never appreciated it enough to be able to be mature enough to like ask the questions or be able to try and ask the questions.
Right.
So I missed that opportunity, and I wish he was still around for that.
My grandfather, who passed many years ago, none of my dad or my dad's dad, my grandpa, he was never drafted and didn't go to the war. And I think it had to do with they were farmers, and the farmers and the boys were too young. But because my grandpa was an actual farmer, I don't believe he was a candidate. To the best of my knowledge, that's how it worked. But either way, my grandfather was never in the war.
Yeah.
But there were, along your vein of the questions, there were some, certainly depression era things that he went through. When we moved him from his house in Lake Wildwood up there in Penn Valley into a senior living home down in L.A. Where there were more family members to take care of him, watch him, because my dad was still commuting to Vacaville every day.
Right.
When we moved him out of his house in Lake Wildwood, and I think I've mentioned this in previous episode, but he had hundreds of mason jars with change in them.
Oh, wow.
All around the house, hidden.
Oh, wow.
Under the bed, behind drawers in his dresser.
So just in case.
Yeah. And there no real dollar bills. It was all change. And we were moving the bed, and I broke one, not knowing that there was something sliding around under and in a box spring.
Oh, wow.
Like, shink, clink, breaks, and I'm like,
Where
well,
did that come
where
from?
the fuck is this in here? And my dad knew right away. He's like, your grandpa stored money in case the banks tanked.
Yeah.
And it was just something that was an inherent thing from his childhood, that your money may all go away, and if you have extra, you store it and you hide it.
Yeah.
Because you never know. And it was one of those things where he was still around, but I never got to, like, with reverence and respect,
Sure.
like, tell me. I would love to hear your perspective on blah.
Yeah.
I still get and what's neat about that and missing that opportunity with my own grandpa is that I get to have those on occasion, those conversations with Venus's grandpa. And that's generally where we probably don't see eye to eye in a lot of politics, but I will sit down and spend endless afternoons with that man to listen about starting your own business when all the roads around here were dirt.
Right.
Going over the grapevine in a car where you actually had an ice box in your window because that's how you kept yourself cool.
Right.
And along with the gas stations along the way, there were ice machines that you used to keep... Fascinating stories.
Yeah.
And so I kind of get to have a little bit of those moments I missed with my grandpa, with Venus's.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I'm certainly older, I get to make sure I tailor the conversation in a way that he knows I'm not like, so you're old, right?
Yeah, right.
Tell me about the dinosaur days.
Right.
Because he's very articulate. He was a businessman.
Yeah.
So his stories are all things that are all very interesting to me. So it's unfortunate that some of those things, once we're old enough to ask them, we may have missed the shot.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck.
I mean, my grandfather passed away, I think, when Chandler was like 6 or 9 months old, somewhere in there. So he was little. He actually did come to the house. We got a picture of him with Chandler when he was a little guy.
Yeah.
But never had the opportunity to really just like ask him about, like, I know you're in World War II,
You have any stories?
Yeah.
Like, is there something you could tell me?
Yeah.
That you found interesting?
I mean, a lot of those guys don't want to talk about it.
Right. And that's part of the young me would have been like,
yeah.
What's it like to kill a man?
No,
that's
not
wrong.
In that.
Did you ever, would you,
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
I would have asked.
Where did you jump
way.
into?
Right.
Those are my questions. What, did you see real action? What was that like?
You ever drive a tank?
I mean, I know that it affected his hearing because he couldn't hear. Remember back in the day the Casio watches that make that beep?
Yeah.
He couldn't hear those electronic beeps like at all. So
Venus can't hear shit, and she never even went to war.
Well,
Hashtag
it was,
I love you, wife.
Bombs going off or grenades or whatever it is or gunfire. That affects your hearing over time, and I think he got enough of it that it just.
Hawkeye yet?
No.
Okay.
No, you asked me before, and I thought I did.
I think you said yes.
Yeah, and then later on, I was like thinking, no, I haven't seen that yet.
There's an interesting twist in that where he's wearing a hearing aid now. It's not really a spoiler, but he's wearing a hearing aid now. As a real, because he's not superhuman, so
right.
And they kind of cover it in like a real quick thing, like, yeah, I'm wearing a hearing aid. Why? And they do like a quick montage of like explosions of him being with the Avengers and fucking aliens and blastings right next to him, and he's like,
yeah,
but it is what it is.
Yeah,
it was an interesting twist of the reality of bombs and grenades and concussions. Shit happens and it hurts people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, considering that, welcome to the show.
Hey, it's Sad Dad's Club Podcast, episode 177.
We got Fu over there.
And Jim over there.
And we hope we're not damaging your hearing whatsoever.
Right. Right.
This should be easy on the ears.
It's interesting. I got like a real quick something that I, along that vein of like parents and asking someone. So Piper, they're trying to plan for their senior trip. They're going to want to go to Maui. And
don't go there.
Yeah. Right.
It's a terrible place.
We were in between. I was cooking dinner last night, and Venus was at a band meeting, and she had brought up. She's like, "What is something that you would recommend we do? Have us as adults, and we've been there probably three times, maybe four, but I can't count 100%. I'm not sure.
You can
anyway,
I'll let you use your fingers.
I've been there multiple times.
Okay.
Let's put it that way.
All right.
Generally, we're usually with other people, but for the most part, we've been there a number of times. Anyway, so she asked, she's like, so Dad, what is something that you would recommend we do while we're on the island, you having been there? And I thought about it for a second. I said, what I'm going to tell you is probably something that you won't expect. And she's like, okay. And I said, find an opportunity to do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, And I said, because here's my advice. I said, there are a number of times when we've been, because we're with people, it always feels like, now we had kids. So being a young parent and the age that the kids were, we have yet to be there when they're the young adults that they are. So when we've gone, they've always been reliant on us as parents to take care of them and bring them along to the stuff and things. I have no regrets about that.
But also, the kids at that age, you want to entertain them. You want to keep them entertained.
Right. So we're kind of bang, bang, bang. The trip is full, pretty much sun up to sundown with stuff to keep the kids busy.
Yeah.
And you as adults wanting to see things, it's run gun, the whole. And I said, in hindsight, I think the thing that I miss most about the couple times that we've gone is that I didn't take a half day or take a morning to just be there in the moment.
Yeah.
Just relax.
Go stand on the beach and watch the waves for 45 minutes or an hour.
I said, you never know if you'll go back, and maybe you will, and you certainly hope that you will. And that's not to detract from you. Me also recommending that you fill your time with as much of the things that you want to scratch off on your first time there as a young adult, 18, like off the bucket list. Super important. I 100% agree with that.
Right.
But I said, the adult me, if I could go back and give the advice like I would be giving you to myself, would be take a morning, go get a Red Bull or a cup of coffee and enjoy a sunrise.
Mm-hmm.
And don't worry about surfing. Don't worry about taking the photos.
Just actually, enjoying a sunrise in Hawaii is really easy because you're already waking up super early.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like...
you watch the sun come up from behind the mountain, and it's just awesome.
So I'm like, that may not be your bag, and that's okay. But since you asked, I said, that would be my recommendation. Sit on the beach with Nick, maybe for an hour or two, and just suntan.
Yeah.
Or,
play in the waves.
Goof off, but just not have an itinerary for a small, just do a nothing.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, okay. I thought, man, if only. And that was what was really good about the experience in the UK with Dragon and Mike. It was, we had stuff packed, but we had a lot of
downtime,
wiggle room to just kind of be detox, just kind of. Now, we were bang bang, but I knew the personnel. I certainly knew Mike. We're on the same page. Like
a little chill.
Yeah. Hey, when in doubt, I am good with just sitting and enjoying, like sitting on a fence post and watching bikes, or
go to a coffee shop and just drink and watch people.
Right. And so it's good to, now that I'm older and had a trip like that with Mike and Angie, there are also those travel people around that, now that I find that that's a little bit more my niche, I'm like, here you go, daughter. I'm now passing on a thing to you. Yeah. This is the thing. You don't always have to be bang, bang, bang.
Yeah, I mean, I've been there twice with my family, a couple times when like high school time. Mm-hmm. And we were there both times like 16 days, which is a pretty long trip, right? Mm-hmm. So those trips were really cool because you were there for enough time. You had ample days to just chill on the beach and hang out or skimboard or whatever it was.
Right.
But then also we were mixing in like going up to the top of the mountain or going to the Io Valley or going to Lahaina or Hana or whatever. But when Shannon and I went, we were there for much less time. So it was like, we're trying, we got like beach time in and just chill time, but we definitely like went snorkeling at the crater, we did a little whale watching thing, and those can be chill time too, because just sitting on a boat, hanging out while you're going out to the thing, that's chill time.
And I told her, I said, I do have a couple bucket list things that I have yet to do. I said, I'd like to see the volcano.
Yeah.
I haven't been to the top. I said,
bike down that shit.
And doing the bike thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm a fit
guy.
I
want to do that.
I want to do the, balls out.
Absolutely.
It only brakes. Fuck, I don't have to pedal. Fuck yeah. And you're going to feed me somewhere along the way or whatever.
Yeah, right.
Like,
I want to do that.
But there will be the next trip. I guarantee you there's going to be I don't have anything planned for today. I'm going to go down to the cafe.
And tomorrow is
chill.
I'm going to hang out on the beach. I'm going to hang out in town and do nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see that sometimes when you talk about when you go down to SoCal, your beach stops.
You
do kind of just.
Yeah. We typically set aside time. One for maybe 3 or 4 hour, maybe 5 hour chunk of time where we can go to the beach and just hang and chill.
Yeah.
And screw around in the water or not. Just hang out, take pictures, whatever. It doesn't matter. We were just down there over the weekend.
Yeah.
But didn't have time. We sort of planned to do it, but where Melanie is living now.
Yeah.
We drove down Saturday. Moved her in Saturday night, ran some errands in the morning. We were planning on doing beach time on Sunday.
Yeah.
But it was just not feasible. Like, beach time from there would have been at least a 3 or 4 hour excursion.
Wow.
Because she's on the inland side of, like, Orange County, like the far inland side.
Yeah, yeah.
And it just wasn't going to work out. It was like we had to go. Like, I wanted to get her car washed, we had to get her groceries, do all these things, get breakfast.
Right.
And by the time we had all that stuff done, it was 1:00. And I'm like, we can go to the beach, but then, Mom and I are going to get home at midnight. Or maybe I just drop her off at the school on the way home. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And that, I'm
it's
like,
it's going to be close.
Don't get me wrong. I want to go to the beach, but it's just, for this trip, it's just not feasible.
Right.
So,
Right.
But anyway, we always try to do that.
An interesting thing too, and it's up your alley with, it's a dad thing.
Yeah.
So your daughter's experience in the things that she's done coming out of high school.
Yeah.
You did not have that?
You mean like go away to college?
Right. Like
I didn't do that.
Right.
Yeah.
And neither really did I.
Right.
Relatively. Ian's niece, Chloe, Ian's daughter, she's going, he's now in Idaho, and she is, let's see, this would be
Ian's in Idaho?
Ian's in Idaho, yeah.
Oh, damn.
He moved out to, yeah.
Wow.
Fantastic story there, too.
Okay.
So she graduated last year, so she's on what would be a semester and a half, I think, out of being in school, but still interested. But she is taking essentially like a year off.
You're talking about college.
Chloe, yeah.
Okay.
I think she did take some Sierra, but
okay,
that she might have taken fall at Sierra. But she's done. She spent Christmas a couple weeks up at Ian's in Idaho, got a job at a ski resort, and is now moving out there with the intention of trying to apply and get into OSU, so Oregon State University. Like that's the Beavers, not the Ducks, the Beavers.
Okay.
No real...
Like graduate stuff?
No.
Oh.
Just to start, like starting. I asked her, like, is there something there at OSU that specifically interests you?
So you're saying that she graduated high school, she's taken a little time off.
Right.
And now she's gone back there and gotten a job at a ski resort.
With the intention of
going to college.
Going to college.
I see. Okay.
Right,
so
right.
Not the back end of college, the front end.
Right. She to just start.
Okay.
And she really has nothing outside of, I really like the place and the campus.
Uh-huh.
And I asked her, I'm like, so, but is there something that you're going there specifically for, a major or something that they do unique to OSU? And she just said no. She was like, no, but it.
Yeah.
And I went, well, well, good for you.
Right.
But she is detached and doing an experience of things for a year. Like I didn't have, and neither did her dad, right? And neither did my sister. High school, we did go to Chico, but we're still here.
Yeah.
And then we didn't do well, so then we came back, and then we got into the humdrum. It's I need to employ because I have a partner, and we need rent and bills, and no regrets. But I told her, and I saw her off on Sunday, I'm like, I didn't have what you have, so take advantage, and I hope you enjoy every moment, because there are tons of experiences here, and I'm all for it.
Yeah.
And I was telling Ian in post after the conversation, I'm like, we didn't have that, and I encouraged her. I said, I'm like, it felt like one of those parental moments where it was like, I didn't have this, so I'm hoping you learn from not a mistake, but the things I didn't have.
Right.
So congratulations, Dad, to you on encouraging her to find her own path, and then being able to encourage her to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't.
So Melly,
yeah,
it seems, well, there's nothing we can do about datas. The first ones always are like the trial and error. But Melly seems that way. She's got a direction.
Uh-huh.
She's gone well beyond the county.
Well,
so
initially she was she knew she wanted to be a speech pathologist. So there's only not a few, but there's a bunch of schools that have speech pathology in their pedigree or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was a couple of schools that were her main choices. One of them was San Diego State. And we went and looked at San Diego State, and I think she kind of realized how far it was, because that's 10 hours driving to get to San Diego, at least 9. And she realized how far that was. And also, San Diego State's fairly expensive school to go to for a state school. So she found it at the same program at Fullerton, which turns out to be a far cheaper school for whatever reason.
Uh-huh.
And so she decided to go for it, and it's like, good for her.
Right.
That's awesome. And she was doing all that stuff. Then the pandemic hit. We were talking about this the one day last week when we knew that we were going to be driving down this weekend. Like, hey, I know you're moving down there right now, but the thing is, you're only going to be there for 4 months, because she will graduate.
Right.
She's only going to be there for 4 months.
Yeah, when you come back, the rent's going to go up. So yeah, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I mean, that was the stressful thing. But I mean, she moved down there, and I was telling her, like, I mean, you were able to do 2 years of your college stuff here at home and save a bunch of money. On the negative side of that, you had sort of this part of your college thing was sort of cleaved off.
Yeah, your experience.
Yeah, part of your college experience was cleaved off, and she's like, yeah, I know, and it kind of bums me out. And I'm like, but you did save a bunch of money by moving home.
Right.
Because she was spending like close to $1,000, right around $1,000 every month for rent. And that was to share a room with somebody and have 2 other roommates in another room at the apartment they were at. So, I mean, that's not cheap.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So you consider she saved, what, $24,000 or something? 24 months worth of rent at least. So, I mean, there's that. But so what was stressful about this situation was knowing that the school was going to be sort of hardline, like we're going back to in-person learning.
Mm-hmm.
She was very stressed out. Like, first of all, I don't have anybody I can move in with. I don't have any roommate material down there.
Right.
Where am I going to go? I can't afford an apartment by myself. Like, all of these problems cropped up. And she got hooked up. I forget how exactly she got hooked up with this program.
I was going to say, so did you meet the lady that she's staying with now?
Yeah. But she got hooked up with this program where they find women places to stay where they have like someone just will let them stay at in a spare room in their house.
Mm-hmm.
And they pay some kind of rent. And the lady who owns this house, her husband passed away last April. So she has room. She doesn't want to be alone.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of these kind of things, right?
Yeah.
She's just happy to have someone else at the house.
Mm.
So they did an official call between whatever the people are that organize this, and then the lady that she's moving in with and Melly. They all got on this conference call, and they asked her, "What do you want to charge Melanie for rent? Like, we only will allow you to do $500 a month." I mean, even $500 a month is cheap to like live in a room in a house.
Right.
And she's like, "Well, I mean, I don't really want rent money at all." And they're like, "Well, we can do a no cost rent thing if you really want to. I mean, that has happened before." And she goes, "Well, how about if we just to make it legally binding, we'll just do $5 a month."
Mm-hmm.
So that's how the $5 a month rent came about. It was just her idea, which, man, it's great. And we went down on Saturday.
Yeah.
Met her, moved her into her room. It was awesome. It's been a good thing. And she's going to have some other new experiences living there for sure.
Right.
But the woman has been really great. I mean, she's like cleared out a couple of shelves and, stuff in the fridge for room for her.
Wow.
Room in the pantry. Cleared out the whole room for her to have like a dresser and the nightstand and like the whole closet. Like everything's ready for her to just move in. And she has done that,
Wow. That's cool.
She has a spot in the driveway to park her car. I mean, and the house is great.
Do you have the name so we could like promote it? The name of the program?
I'll have to get it. I don't remember off the top of my head what it was called.
Because that sounds like a really good program.
Yeah.
I mean, not everyone's going to get the dice roll that she got,
right?
But it still sounds like a good,
absolutely,
like a good program.
And it was weird because when we pulled up, there were
ticker tapes.
There were a couple of people like in the neighborhood out in front of the house. Like one of the houses had a BMW i8 parked out front with the doors up, and there were like 2 or 3 people like kind of gathered around and all talking.
Uh-huh.
And they were there for quite a while. So it was weird when we just pull up in front of this house, which is immaculate, by the way.
Yeah.
Pull up in front of this house and we start moving my daughter's things, almost like it's a halfway house or something. Like, you're a bad girl and you're moving into this person's house.
So you're the whore that's moving in, huh? Yeah. How many crack dealers did you put on the street?
Seriously.
Slinging your smeck.
It was a weird feeling, like I was in a movie, like they were judging us because she's moving into this house, like, well, you've been bad, so you're staying at. We can't deal with you, so you're staying at this.
How come we can't see your ankle bracelet? Where's that at?
Yeah. It was just it was really weird kind of feeling, but the neighborhood's awesome. Man, the neighborhood right next to this neighborhood.
How far is she from campus?
It's like 17 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Surface streets. And there's everything, it's Orange County. They have everything down there. It's not like,
oh yeah.
It's not like you can't find stuff.
Right. Yeah.
There's like literally like 6 or 7 grocery stores right within distance of the house that are all different. You know, it was just it was.
Well, here's to another. Yeah. Hopefully, a positive experience for her.
Yeah, and she's done
to finish off the rest of the school curriculum. There.
She walks in May. I mean, she's done. You know.
Yeah.
Now the big thing is getting her into grad school, or hopefully she can get into the school that she wants to go to, which is the school in Hillsboro, Oregon that we visited over the summer. That was that trip that we took. That's the school she wants to go to for her, not undergrad, her graduate stuff.
Something that Corvallis, does that ring a bell for you?
Corvallis is on like
Oregon?
a long 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chloe went something there, some college there.
Oh, yeah. You know what? There's a big college in Corvallis. I want to say, is that the...
She likes that one as well. But I'm like, her and Ian both kept throwing around the name, and I'm like, I'm going to step right there. I have no fucking clue what you guys are talking about. Like, I know what the Coriolis effect is, but I don't know where Corvallis is.
So Corvallis is mid-Oregon, along the 5.
Okay.
In it, I want to say it's Oregon State, or it's Oregon University or Oregon State, one of the two, and I don't know if it's the Ducks or not, but it's one of those big schools.
Okay, well then maybe that's the Oregon State then. I didn't know maybe Corvallis was where the campus actually was.
I believe it is.
Okay, then that makes sense.
But we actually on that trip we took, we stayed one night in Corvallis because that was the only place we could find a room.
Yeah.
When we were...
Is that the one you sent a picture of with the voodoo donuts?
No, that was in Portland.
Was it? Okay,
yeah,
no.
That was in Portland.
All right, I'm thinking of something else. Mason buildings with frilly signage on the streets?
That was... No, Corvallis there wasn't a lot to it. It felt very Chico-ish.
Okay, that's kind of how, yeah.
Yeah, very Chico-ish. The hotel we stayed at was nice. It was right on the river and all that kind of stuff. I don't have any complaints. I think it was a Holiday Inn Express. I felt better after staying there. But as far as
brain surgery?
Yeah, as far as Corvallis, we sort of drove from the coast into Corvallis, stayed the night, and then drove back to the coast.
Bye.
That was all I saw. You know what I mean? And it wasn't until later that I knew that Corvallis had a school there. And then I kind of was like, oh, well, that makes sense. It did have that college town feel to it. So, I don't know. But let's hope she gets into that school that she wants to go to. They have actually sent her. She has had to apply for graduate schools now,
right?
And so she has an interview set up with them. So that's cool. So it's promising.
Was that where you also get a second job? Or does she apply for grants? Like, where's that? As a dad that's coming up on those
It's grants and student loans.
Okay. I keep meaning to ask my dad. I'm like, Dad, are we all paying? Do you owe anything for me for anything that I've done?
I do help out with some of the student loans. Like one of the student loans, at least we picked, was one where you pay into it every month to keep the interest down.
Right.
And so I'm making payments on student loans every month for that to keep the cost down.
Yeah.
But it's not paying them off. It's not a big amount. You know.
It just abates.
Yes, exactly. I mean, it is what it is.
Well, yeah.
But that was the thing. I mean, we didn't have it for us. Like, we didn't have a lot of money early into our, when the kids came around, like, we were struggling financially.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, there was even a point in time where, like, my 401k, I was like, just stop putting money in there. Then I'll have some extra cash in my pocket every month. And then it took some time for me to get to a point where I'm like, okay, 401k's back on,
Right. Yeah.
So, like, we didn't have extra money to, like, set up whatever the college funds were. I forget what they call them. We didn't have any extra money for those, so I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Mike, young adulthood was essentially the same way, but I ended up with student loan debt. It was like, great. I failed got kicked out.
Not only did you
and I owe thousands of dollars in fucking student loans.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Right. Yeah, that's the worst. And I think Chandler's in that same boat. He's got some student loans, and then he hasn't finished, and he.
I think my brother's probably even worse than my sister or myself, because he actually went, I think, the full length of the Full Sail curriculum in Florida.
Yeah.
And he's not doing that. I don't think he has any regrets about it, but that wasn't cheap either.
Yeah.
So he's paying on that, I'm sure.
I mean, I don't want to name names, but I have a pretty good friend who has a film degree that went to
prison?
Big college in New York, and I can't think of the name of the college. Very popular college in New York City.
Okay.
But he's over $100,000 in student loans. I mean, it's
a terrible thing. Yeah, I don't.
Dude. That's why I see when you hear some of the politicians talking about like abolishing like student loan debt, where someone like my daughter is like, yeah, vote those people in.
Yeah, put those people in office.
Yeah. And like, it's like
as a parent that probably happen to help that, you're like, yeah, I'm for that.
I mean, that money's going to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
But there are countries around this earth that
make it happen.
Yeah, that no one pays for college education. You can go to college, and you don't have to pay for it.
Yeah. I mean, and the Piper's entertaining currently is like the 2 years free junior college thing.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm all for that, too.
But that's a new thing.
Right. That wasn't afforded to us.
Yeah, no.
And apparently we still can't dip in it, even if we were like, I'd like to go back to college.
Like,
can I get 2 years free? Oh, sir, could you look in the mirror here?
Now,
sir, that's gray hair. No, I'm sorry. That doesn't apply. You can get the fuck out.
Now, the whole JC thing is interesting because when I started going to a junior college, so this would have been 89, 90, somewhere in there. It was $5 a unit. $5
that sounds about right.
Yeah. And my understanding prior to that, it was free. So at some point up to when I started junior college, at some point before that,
junior college,
it went from free to like people having to pay for it.
Where'd they make their money elsewhere?
I think it was just funded by the state or something.
Okay.
I don't know. But you didn't
too
pay
many
for
people
it.
going here. We're gonna have to start charging for this shit.
Yeah, it's just like everything else. I don't know. I don't understand.
I remember when I bombed out of Chico. I didn't mind paying, because then I took courses at Butte Junior College, which is just outside Paradise.
Yeah.
But I was like, well, fuck, if I'm paying for this, I'm taking classes that I actually wanted. Human anatomy, psychology.
But you're not doing it for like
but I wasn't
you're not following some...
No. I was like, and it was weird to then be like, yeah, I have homework, but it's homework that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Like, I busted my balls trying to work full time in Auburn and then come back and take an anatomy course and a psychology course. But it was like, if you could find a course, I was like, one, I was paying for it. Two, I was candles at both ends. But it was like, yeah, I like this a lot though.
Yeah.
So it was worth it.
Yeah.
Trying to.
Plus, it was way cheaper.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Way.
I mean,
cheaper.
it was the bill was paid by the term.
Whereas
Chico State, I was still like shelling out money 2 years, 3 years afterwards.
Yeah, I think when I was at JC, like you had to pay. Like I had to have the money to pay for all the classes like up front.
Right.
So yeah, it was all paid for at the beginning of the semester.
It was,
or before the beginning of the semester.
Such an interesting concept. Like, yeah, I don't mind being at school, but just as long as it's, and it wasn't like I was taking remedial garbage just to like kill time. I was taking, just stuff
you wanted.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I was taking GE classes they were the classes I needed to transfer into like a state school or something. That was my goal, or a UC school.
Right.
So that was my goal, was to get to that level. And I just got to a point where I was just like, I need to work.
Well, that was pretty much mine.
Yeah, I got to work. And so I think I was 3 units away, too, from my photography.
I think I gave up a lot earlier than that on anything. I was just like, well, Venus is taking courses, and she's trying to do, she's trying to get her AAs. Yeah, I think at the time. And I'm like, well, if it means spending more time on campus with Venus, even if we're not in the same classes, I'll take these things.
Right.
But it was
whatever you wanted to take.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There was no like, oh, I'm only 13 credits short of blah, blah, blah. Fuck it. I had zero plan. It was like, I'm on campus learning something that I want to learn about with Venus. So fuck it. Fuck degrees.
Yeah.
If I had just had a plan, though, it probably would have ended a lot different. Or who's to say?
Do they transfer classes from Chico State over to the...
There was nothing. I had a negative amount of credits. Are you shitting me? Oh, God.
They're all, not only do you have no credits, but here's a bill.
Yeah. I don't know what you were doing. Racquetball and
I took
American witchcraft and religion. Does that give me any credits toward G? No. Like, not even close.
Well, I mean, I had to take a PE class, so I took golf,
Yeah.
And you know what it was?
I took Aikido.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Well, the golf class was sort of like, I had played golf since I was 7 years old, right? So we go into this golf class with a bunch of people who were like, I've never touched a golf club. Which side of it do I hold?
Do I eat it?
Yeah. And so it was just like, oh, I'm acing this shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't even know if we played at a course. I think we just went out in the field and hit balls.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
just so funny.
I could not tell you. I think I had a really tough calculus class that first year coming like right out of high school.
Oh, at
like,
Chico?
Yeah. I had an English course, like a essay, English 101, whatever.
English 1A.
And a terribly way over my pay grade calculus course.
Oh, God.
Like there was no reason.
Now, wait a second.
I just figured it was next in line after what I took, calculus I took in high school. So
well, you have placement tests. Did you take any of that stuff?
I don't remember.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I did well on SATs, but my attention to having fucks...
just sign me up for this class.
Yeah.
But it's not a prerequisite.
That first semester at Chico State, I was on a plan. Like, here are all the things. Just give me the most amount of units I need in order to get the quickest path out of here.
21 units. That's what I'm wanting.
Biology shit. Like, well, it wasn't biology. I was just taking all of the garbage GE stuff. Like, give it to me. They think I'm cool. So, all right. Yeah. And the English course didn't entertain me. The math course absolutely destroyed me. And I don't remember what the other 2 or 3 classes were, but I had a fucking kick-ass time playing racquetball and skateboarding.
Oh, man.
Because I couldn't afford the gas anymore because I didn't have a job. And I was only skateboarding because the bike that I had been given by Venus's dad had gotten stolen midway through the first semester. And so then it was like the money I did. Oh, this is why her dad loves me. So the bike that I had been loaned because I was too poor to buy my own by her dad got stolen. And the money that I did have, I bought him a new bike and then didn't keep it.
Oh my God.
So, and I don't know if he ever even rode it.
Oh, that's hilarious.
But it was
sorry, your bike got stolen. Here's a bike back.
Yeah.
But I still need it.
Yeah. So then that's exactly how it went. And for him, it was an honor thing. Like, I respect.
What a solid kid.
What a solid. So what's he doing to get to school? I'm like, fucking Ian, can I borrow your Tony Hawk skateboard?
He's like, I got this bike here with a bow on it.
Yeah.
I don't know why. You think he needs it? Nah.
Yeah, I had no money. Yeah, god damn. That was a long skateboard to Chico State, I tell you that.
I'm just picturing you and Venus like from in the Dumb and Dumber where he's like, we got no food. We got no money. Our pets' heads are falling off.
Yeah.
That's what I'm picturing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty bird.
Pretty bird. Pretty bird. Duct tape around the collar.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, that was you did have a college experience.
Oh, yeah, I did. But,
yeah.
It was worst one.
It was you getting
it was
machine
one of those
washed.
Yeah. Terrible. Terrible.
Oh, man. I went to JC and I switched from American River College over to Sac City because Sac City had a real nice photography department.
Yeah.
And that was my goal, was to get an AA in photography aside from the transfer credits and stuff. And then I was 3 units away from attaining that. One class that I took and dropped out of because of work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not because...
So you have...
not because I had to work, but because I did have to work.
Yeah.
But that story was I was working for a photography studio in Sacramento, Bill Smith Photography.
Uh-huh.
And I was working for them, and then I would take off on Wednesday for my class or classes that I was scheduling for one day. And I was taking these classes, and then Bill Smith would schedule you all day, and then in the evening, and then sometimes a lot of times on the weekend if you were shooting dances and shit like that.
All right.
So you were working a ton of hours extra over your 40 a week. And so I was taking in the middle of my semester, and I get called into the office at work, and they're like, well, you're not working on Wednesday because you're going to school. Like thinking like, okay, yeah, you knew that. But that means we've been overpaying you. And so what they did is they started taking money out of my checks to pay them back for all the money that they say they overpaid me, even though I was a salaried employee.
Oh, boy.
Was I happy?
No.
No.
I know.
But that caused me to drop out of school, right? Because I still needed the money.
Right.
And no, I never went back to finish.
It's like my sister just started going back for some degree that she's shooting for.
Yeah.
And she's like, just in case you were wondering, anything that you've had on the books, whatever, if you never got there, you have nothing now.
Yeah.
And I went, well, that's good because I really wasn't counting on anything. But let me ask you this.
Bummer.
So if you had the time and a shot, would you go back to school? Let's say your first 2 years of JC, if you were committed to something, would be covered. Would you go and take something? Or would you go back to school for anything?
I don't know. I don't know that I'm that interested in anything in particular.
Photography?
I mean, Bill Smith fucking ruined photography for me.
Okay.
So, like, I don't have the same drive
Passion.
for that. Passion, yeah.
Yeah.
And everything's different now. I was shooting on film. There was no digital.
Oh, yeah.
I think the most digital we had at the time was like Photoshop 1 with a film scanner.
Oh, yeah.
And that was
Corel Draw with a Logitech Draw.
Yeah, and I remember our photography
scanner
professors. No, they had actually like a sled that the film or the negative or the slide film went into.
Oh, okay.
And it was just a slide film or a film scanner.
Oh, okay.
And it was the Nikon Cool Scan, and it took fucking like 45 minutes to scan one image. And I remember they were all zeked up. All the professors were all zeked up, and I remember one of the guys was always making jokes, and he made this joke. Oh, I know why they call it the Nikon Cool Scan, because you start scanning and you just cool off somewhere while you wait. That was the joke. But that was the beginning of the digital sort of creep,
right?
That ended up taking place. So I mean, it's not like photography has really changed like all of the basics are still the basics.
Right.
But you're just not shooting film anymore. It's all digital, which I would think would be way easier to do now because you just shoot a whole bunch and you get the picture. Whereas with film, you're budgeting what you're shooting because you've only got so many rolls of film you can shoot, you know.
Like I can afford.
Yeah, I got storage. Snap.
Right.
With film, you're like, shit, I only got 3 rolls of 36 left. I better make sure these better be good pictures.
Right.
And not all of them are, you know.
Right.
So, and you don't know what you're capturing because you can't look at it on the back of your camera.
And there's the advent of all the online stuff. Like, what could you really offer me?
Yeah.
Going into a campus that I couldn't probably get paying some photography site online that's going to just have probably pre-canned, stuff as well, or free.
I mean,
from YouTube.
For myself personally, like, I don't know, I maybe finish photography or something, but like, I don't know. I struggle with like what else I would be interested in doing. You know, Tony that was here a couple weeks ago, he, as an adult, went back to school and got his therapist license and whatever, and degree. So, I mean, that was a lot of doing.
Has a vocational purpose, though, too.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. But it's not undoable. And he paid a lot of money for that degree because I think he was doing it through University of Phoenix or something like that. But going to school at night, you know, working all day and going to school, and that's tough, man. I don't have that drive anymore, I don't think.
Yeah.
I would rather just go make the thing and just do the thing, you know? Like, I feel like in my lifetime, like, I've done a lot of specialty things. Like, I have done a lot of photography, even though, like, I don't have a degree. I did a lot of it, right?
Right.
I mean, I've had stuff published in magazines and in newspapers and all that kind of stuff. I have done a lot of design things. Like, when I was working at Charismac for a number of years, I made like ads that were in posters, ads that were in magazines. I did photography for them. I did all kinds of stuff. Like, I just like, oh, we need to do that. Oh shit. Yeah. I can run Illustrator. I figure it out as I go. You know what I mean?
Right.
Photoshop. Yeah. I mean, I had run Photoshop, but never in the capacity where I needed to deliver something.
Right.
So it was like on the job learning, but you just got to figure it out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
What was this? Like, we used to do user guides and data sheets for all of our products because we would go to trade shows and hand data sheets out. This was before, like, really websites and stuff. But you would make a data sheet in Illustrator and put images in it and, like, lay out all your text. But if the images weren't formatted properly and it went to the printer like that, your images would show up grayscale. Everything else would be color, because they weren't the right color. Then you would have to change it. So there were tools that, like, would scan through your document, and go, "Oh, hey, this is wrong," or "This is wrong." You could fix it. But you know, so it was like some of that was just on the job learning.
Right. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But I remember going down to the printer and, like, you don't even see it in color when you check it off. It's a blue line. It's actually printed blue. And you go, yeah, I hope that looks good. And you sign it. And then maybe you get back like 10,000 data sheets that have grayscale screenshots or something.
Like, fuck.
Yeah. I mean, I've done a lot of that stuff over the years just because it was a necessity. It had to be done. So somebody had to raise their hand and do it, you know?
Yeah.
But none of it, like, I would say, for the most part,
to the point where you thought, I need to
go to school and do that.
I would take a shot at higher education to polish this.
Yeah.
Nothing touched it.
No, and I've taken courses at Sierra, like C programming and C++. Those are fascinating. I just don't know that I have the capacity to sit and code all day.
Yeah, no.
You know? And I did well on those classes. It's not like I sucked. You know?
Yeah.
So I struggle with that one. How about you? I mean, do you have...
I would take like a welding course to get like certified in like a welding thing.
See, that's awesome. I actually think that's cool.
Like I would do a vocational thing. Like just something just interests me. I think I could probably take I would like to take probably some legal course,
Mm-hmm.
some poli-sci stuff for sure. But I think I'm tapped out as well as far as like, now that may change if my if my employment status ever changed. I think that probably warrants like Ted, you flip to school and get a degree polished out as fast as you can in order to achieve another either employment goal or a change in employment that the degree will afford you.
Well, that's the thing, though. Even if you go back to school and get a degree in something that's interesting to you, you still start at the bottom pay-wise.
Right.
That's tough.
Yeah, I agree.
I have a friend who that I went to high school with and I worked with at the pizzeria a number of years ago. I lost touch with him for a while, and he sort of did music and a bunch of different things and ended up like in Santa Cruz and just needed a job and got a job like sweeping floors for some metal shop place. Started sweeping floors, and then eventually that became like, oh, yeah, I want to learn how to do that, learn how to weld and stuff. Well, now he's up in the grass. He literally is in Grass Valley. And I've gone to his shop before, and he builds beer brewing systems.
Okay.
They weld the aluminum, or the stainless steel. Dude, they make some of the most gorgeous to be seen brewing equipment I've ever seen. Their company's called Brewbuilt. That's just him. Like, he didn't go to school for that. He just like vocationally worked up into the ranks and learned how to do it. And now he's got this company that's going gangbusters making brewing equipment for breweries all over the country, or maybe even not even outside the U.S., you know?
Yeah.
It's kind of impressive.
Yeah. Sometimes it's I'm all for like just work.
Yeah.
A work path, especially if it's a passion thing. Like, oh, well, this is where it takes me. If it tickles your fancy and you have an opportunity to continue there and learn on it, well, then who's to say that's not a college degree first and then like, oh, shit happens.
I mean, I always had a propensity for like media stuff, you know, and I'm not doing it now. You edit our videos, right? I'm not doing any real video editing. The stuff that I do when it comes to like video editing, Final Cut Pro or Premiere or whatever the tool is at the time, Media Composer or whatever it is, that stuff is all like stuff related to things that I need to do for work. I'm not editing packages together.
Right.
My skill set are tuned for that type of environment.
I have a very specific skill set.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not that I can't do it. It's just that I don't have to.
Right.
But I definitely can, and I used to do a lot of video editing back in the day with Tony. We used to do all kinds of stuff all the time.
Yeah.
That stuff does interest me. Like the media production stuff actually does interest me. And we've talked about doing YouTube channel things. That does interest me.
Right. There you go. Yeah.
I will say that now that we've been talking about it, that stuff does interest me. But it's finding the thing that you can do that's not necessarily the media side, but the front of the camera side.
Right.
Finding that thing to do that you can film it and put those packages together is the tough part.
Right.
What do you do? You know? I
think that that's what's interesting about this whole setup is that we're just on the fringe. As sad dads, we barely have enough time to get this.
Yeah.
And it puts us like between the audio and me for the video part, it puts me right on the fringe of
don't have enough time.
I don't have enough time to dive any deeper, but I enjoy it, and there is definitely an itch there. You give me another cycle or two, and then we'd be like, well, I could put some more twists and polish it on it, but then we'd run into the next roadblock. And the next roadblock is more time to do more of that against.
Right.
Which, sad dad.
Well, that's the thing, right? You start doing the package that you deliver is one thing, but the next package that you deliver, if you add on this and this and this and this, and it takes you X and Y amount of time more,
right?
Then the next package after that is that amount of time, hopefully.
Plus one.
Yeah, plus one or two.
Yeah.
So it becomes this like perpetual thing.
Right.
And that's tough.
Right.
But it is that the media thing, the whole YouTube or even TikTok or whatever, those things are very interesting to me. Actually, those do
appeal.
Yes.
Yeah, they tickle.
Yeah.
I would like to dabble more.
I would.
Yeah.
But the time is the tough one because
time is the
I'm 50. Let's be honest. I'm 50. I'm like, I work all day.
I was there. I still have the llama necklace.
I work all day. And I mean, I feel like I would be neglecting the rest of the family to a certain extent.
That's the juggle.
Yeah. If I were to be like, I'm off work now, but I'm going to sit at the same computer for the next 4 hours and work on this, I don't think anyone would complain. But at the same time, that could get old if it doesn't have any sort of payout dividend.
That's the other part of that. That's not necessarily even like a time thing. For me, while the tinkering in video production is a thing, if I find that time, I'll put that in. But then there's the realization, exactly what you're saying, that I've been working in a chair for anywhere between 8 to 10 hours, and then I've got some cycles free. I'm going to start tweaking on this video a little bit and playing with some other plugins and start doing a couple ideas, and then 3 to 4 hours later, you're still in the chair.
Yeah.
That's even if you're doing sit stand.
And no one in the rest of the family has seen you.
Right. I'm in one room. Your own physical health and whether or not you've been in the same position. So you have to do a trade-off of like, well, where, but I really wanted to, and then
the want is there.
Right. But that's probably not in the best interest of being a dad, being a husband,
right,
and wanting to do one of those other passions that's just outside the door,
right,
or something else.
Well, it's like the whole thing about like, say, honey, can you go ahead and do the laundry, clean the bathroom, also dinner? Can you get that going?
Right.
Because after I'm done working, I'm going to be also sitting here for some number of hours on this project that I'm doing with Jim.
Right.
I mean, that's the tough.
Yeah. No one wants to be I don't want to.
You either are willing to make the sacrifice to do that thing or you're kind of not. And I think at some point, like, I think I either became not okay with doing it or or lost the desire to like do that and like be okay with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think there's a dad thing that kicks in. Like, no, you.
But also at the same time, I'm 50.
Yeah.
My daughter is at school again. Chandler doesn't need me. He's in and out of the house or whatever.
Right.
My wife can entertain herself.
Oh, yes, she can.
I mean, she's got plenty of batteries. No, but she can. What? My wife doesn't necessarily need me. So I guess if any time.
I mean, you could. You're getting into that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, the thing kind of does this, right? At early on in life, it was easier to do it. And then as you grow and the kids are at a certain age, that amount of time, like, you can't, you get to the can't do it part.
Right, right.
I feel like
you're coming back
rounding down the backside.
I got more me time coming, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know if that's, I don't know.
So I just got to hold on until I'm 50 is what you're saying?
Maybe. Yeah. How far are you? What are you, 40? 42?
46.
40? You're 38? That's cool.
50.
Good for you, pal.
21. I just had my first booze. It was a lemon drop.
Good for you, pal.
We're a time. I'm so hammered.
I'm so proud of you.
Yeah. Mike's going to come over and change my diaper.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. I know this is something that you and I talk about enough. This is a discussion that you and I have a lot, I feel like.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's either going to happen or we're just going to be like, it's never going to happen.
It'll happen. I have a positive outlook at some point.
No, I'm not saying
I think you see it.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
It's an ebb and flow.
Yeah. Well, your kids get to a certain age. You don't have to cater to them
right.
or not cater, but they don't necessarily, hopefully.
Chaperoning.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully your kids have been raised well enough, which I believe they have, that you're not required.
Right.
You're not the required leaning post all the time. They are
yeah.
self-sufficient, blah, blah.
That's started to really kick in finally with Piper.
Yeah.
Xander's
got a little time.
Yeah, he's pretty independent,
but
not to the capacity that Piper is.
But Xander, I feel like if you spent some extra time in the chair, the person that would be losing out would be your wife. Because Xander, he fills his time with stuff.
Yes.
And I feel like you're not, he's not leaning on you for stuff at this point.
He's pretty self-sufficient in time consumption.
Right.
But,
yeah.
We just signed him up for all his freshman high school classes.
Oh, damn.
One of his electives, topical, but not his primary one, was whatever Wood Creek is offering as a media production thing.
Oh.
And it was way on the bottom of the list of what Venus was reading him off. And I think he picked a computer science one and then a 3D modeling one as his first and second options. And then she was like, you have to have a third as a backup. And she's reading off stuff, and her and Piper are drawing at him take geography. Geography is a good one. I'm like, read them all off.
Geography.
Yeah. I'm like, read all of the electives off and let him pick. Start. And Piper's like, geography is fine. It's an easy.
Just put it in there.
And Venus is reading them off, and she gets to the media. She's like, and then there's media, but I don't know what that one is. And my eyebrow raised because I'm like, I'm just saying, hold on a second. And she goes, well, let me look it up. And she's trying to find it. And it's taken a minute and a half. And both of them.
He's wandering off.
Yeah. He's trying to get back to playing Roblox. And she reads it. And it was essentially video production, editing, something. And I went, here's what I'm saying. If you're going to get perhaps as your secondary choice the 3D modeling or the computer science stuff, if you happen to already have as an elective to go along with that, or to pony that with something else in your sophomore year, media production stuff is content creation for being able to make your own YouTube videos.
Yeah.
If that interests you in any way, media, not geography,
I have an idea.
Is probably what you're looking for.
We can hire that kid to do the videos, and then you'll have more time to tinker.
Yeah. I mean,
here, kid, sit down at the iMac and edit this video.
Yeah.
And then you can turn it in as your project.
Yeah.
And just don't forget to post it to YouTube.
It's 2 cameras, 70%, 30%, this filter, a mask, and you use this colorizer, and you're good to go. Ready?
Go.
Fantastic. Make it happen.
Nice.
Anyway.
All right, let's leave it at that.
There you go, yeah.
Don't forget to wash your ass because that's disgusting.
Then you need to return the cart because that's what good people do.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that. But also wash your hands.
Wear the mask.
Yeah. Do the kindness.
Wash your face.
You're asking me?
No, that was your joke. Did I use your own joke on
you did.
you?
Yeah, you did.
Wash your face.
Wash your face.
Eat the pie.
Alrighty.
Fish sauce?
Oh.
Check your oil.
Tony.
Tony,
Yeah.
get the shot. We'll catch you next week.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
All right, bye.